Call the meeting to order. Jesse? It says Pastor Warren Hoffman is supposed to lead us in prayer. I don't see him.
Do you want me to lead it?
Huh?
I can.
If you want to.
All right, sure. Heavenly Father, we gather today with gratitude and hope, seeking your guidance and wisdom in our endeavors. May our discussions be marked by respect, understanding, and a shared commitment to your will. Open our hearts and minds to one another's perspectives, and may our decisions reflect your values. We pray for unity, effectiveness, and spirit of joy in our time together. In your name, amen.
Thank you. That's one of the things that I like about you, Jesse. Always willing to stand when you need to.
Do the dirty work.
Okay, we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioner LaHaye.
Here.
Commissioner Ludlow.
Here.
Commissioner Bray. Here. Commissioner Peterson.
Here.
Commissioner Fournier. Here. Commissioner Konashevsky.
Right here.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Here.
So I should.
I'm looking for a motion, and had a chance to review the agenda.
Sorry, did you want to let her do roll call for the road commission?
I thought you meant after we talked.
Oh.
Okay, sorry.
Commissioner MacArthur. Baldwin.
Here.
Commissioner Peters.
Here.
Okay. Next item, so I'm looking for a motion for our agenda to adopt the agenda. If there's anything that we need to add. We got a motion by Commissioner LaHaye. Second. Support by Commissioner Ludlow. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Next item we have is the bills. Looking for a motion.
Public comment.
3 minutes.
Oh, yeah, public comment. Geez, you guys got to keep me on track today. So I do have a public comment. I got one card. Gary, I'd like to step up to.
Shannon over here somewhere. My name is Gary Gorin. I'm at 109 Glenridge Street in Alpena. Thank you for letting me address the board today. I'm here to address the board for a specific reason, to let you know my opinion on raising the number of the Alpena County Road Commission from 3, its current membership, to 5. And I want the board here to consider a couple hypotheticals in your conversation that will be occurring a little later in the meeting. Hypothetical 1, let's imagine the county, the Alpena County Board that you're a part of, all of a sudden were to shrink down from its current number down to 3. And let's imagine that you're not one of the 3. So a board, and you might say, well, the Alpena County Board has a lot more important things to do maybe than the Alpena Road Commission. And I'd argue maybe at times, but there's some very significant issues going on with the Road Commission. So let's say this board was shrunk down to 3. You're not one of the members, and 2/3 of the board, the quorum at any given moment, is now just 2 members of the board. So one person could be off and 2 people would account for 2/3 of the membership. And they could make whatever decision they wanted. Would that frustrate you as a citizen of the county? Would that frustrate you that those 2 people would be able to make any decision that the board deems appropriate? Would it be more frustrating if the fact that you're not even able to select the members of the county commission? Let's say hypothetically, the voters are not able to vote for the board that's selected at the state level. And now you got 2 members that the public is not even able to select because they're selected at the state level. So that's hypothetical number 1 I'm putting over there for you to consider. Hypothetical number 2. In the state of Michigan at the Alpena County Board and other, the Alpena County Road Commission and other road commissions have to be very careful about conflicts of interest. On page 4 of the Road Commission Handbook, they talk about conflicts of interest, that if any commissioner has a close relative, a friend, a business partner who has some financial gain, they should probably recuse themselves from voting on a contract that might be a lucrative road contract. Well, if you only have 3 members of the board and one of them is recusing themselves because of that, now you're down to 2. Now, I know that's just a hypothetical. That wouldn't happen very often. Perhaps that someone would have a close relative that would be a member of the community that they may want to put into office, but it certainly can happen. And I think we would all be in agreement that the ideal number would be larger than 3. The state allows you to go up to 5 with the Alpena County Road Commission, and that's what I would suggest you to do. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment? Anybody on Zoom? Okay, so we'll close public comment at this time. Back to the bills, looking for a motion to approve the bills. Everyone had a chance to review those. So we got a motion by Commissioner Peterson.
Support.
Support by Commissioner Fournier. Any questions regarding the bills? If not, roll call, please.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Konashevsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, the next item is informational for the information or for the money that was transferred. We did a poll vote and the information is here. We'll actually be touching on that later by Jesse, correct?
Yes.
So and again, this is just more informational, so we've already approved this.
Consent calendar. Yeah, before that.
Just keep, skip over that, right? Someone told me they wanted to keep the meeting moving. Sorry about that. Consent calendar. We have a consent calendar. We did have a couple items with meeting information. Had a chance to look at that, so I'd look for a motion to approve the consent calendar.
We'll make the motion.
Motion by Commissioner LaHaye. I'll support. Support by Commissioner Konashevsky. I'm trying to make one worse. Any questions on the consent calendar? Anything that needs to be pulled? If not, roll call on that.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray, Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Konashevsky,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Like I said, the next item is the poll vote that was taken, and we will be talking about that with Jesse. There was more informational. If no one has any questions, we'll move on to the next item. And what we're going to do is going to switch Kristen Angel. Hopefully you don't have a problem with that practice which I guess you have to be somewhere. So we'll just move you in front. We'll just flip flop you guys. So if you want to start.
Okay. Thank you for having me. I'm here to share information with you with regards to Michigan Class, a local government investment pool available to public agencies across the state of Michigan. Cindy invited me, and I do want to make sure, Cindy, that I cover start to finish where you'd like me to cover. If you have any thoughts on specifics, that you'd like me to cover while I'm here, and then the documentation that I just handed out to you will be the in writing version of anything we might cover. And certainly if you have any questions following this meeting, I can be available for that at any time. Cindy, did
If you just want to touch base on the liquid and availability of the funds that we have, once we invest there, so that they kind of understand how that works.
Sure, sure. So Michigan Class is a local government investment pool. It's a way for all public agencies to come together, invest in one space with one portfolio team, one credit team, all working under the umbrella of Public Act 20, which is the legislation that kind of puts the bumpers up for all public agencies in Michigan as to what they can do with their money when it comes to investing. I oversee that pool in the state of Michigan. We have just under 1,000 participants. The pool is hovering. It's a daily liquid fund. So when I give numbers, it's daily liquid because you can pull money out, money in whenever you'd like. But pool hovers around $6.5 billion. And that is just fluctuating daily. You have the ability to opt in to participate with Michigan Class. It's not an account you open and close. Once the county opts in to participate, the county's account would be established, and then you can use it whenever it makes sense for you to use it. Don't have to call Kristen, don't have to sign paperwork. You're just already opted in to be able to use it as the county sees fit for your surplus dollars, tax dollars, any inflows, outflows, project dollars, anything that you'd see Michigan Class being appropriate for. The account connects to your bank accounts, and it's an online portal that you can move money self-serve at any point in time that you'd like, with the ability to move to or from the bank account and the Class account. It's the only places that it will move. We're not a checking account. We're not a depository. We don't take the place of those for you. Those partners are very important to you, and we're an additional tool, additional resource to be able to gain a little interest on the funds that you're not currently using or don't need right away. Or if you're saving for something, something like that. The portal, when you use the portal, you're able to transfer ACH or wire. So ACH is an overnight call or push, and wire is something that we can make happen with your banking partners within a couple of hours, either in or out of the investment account. We mark to market every single day, pay out every single day, reinvest those funds every day, and then start all over again. So the pool, usually a short term, usually right around 60-day turnover of the holdings portfolio. Portfolio is usually around 200, some holdings, all within Public Act 20, depending on what the market is doing. The portfolio team will invest more here, less here, vice versa within Public Act 20, but they manage that behind the scenes. You don't have to worry about those durations at all because we're doing that behind the scenes for you. They're keeping the liquid portion needed for the entire pool, so that you have access to it whenever you'd like. Stop there. Cindy, how'd I do? Or does anyone have any questions about that part or other?
So I do have a couple questions. So
Sure.
on one of your flyers that you gave us, it said invest with Michigan Class. And I noticed that it says that you invested $1 million on February 1st. End of February, you would, depending on, well, if you invested the $1 million, you would have received or made $3,434. So with the fluctuation, especially recently with the market, how does that work? You know, if we invested, what, April 1st at the end of the month, with the market being fluctuating as much as it has, how does that work? I mean, I think where I saw something is average, down here, February 4.4, 4.5, 4.5. So there's a number of percentage rate is pretty decent, but again, with the fluctuation recently, how does that work for those people that are investing their money?
Sure. No, that's a great question. So Michigan Class is safety is first, but liquidity second, yield third. Right now, the yield is pretty great comparatively, right, to what we've seen in the market. It's not always as great, and it does fluctuate. The expected performance of Michigan Class follows the Fed funds rate. So as you see the news, you see the Fed meets and they're going to lower rates, 1/4%, something like that, you can expect your Michigan Class account to follow suit. As they raise rates, you can expect Michigan Class to follow suit. As far as the market goes, stock market, other markets, actually the stock market, the way that that works, should the stock market fail, which we would not want it to do, but it actually would increase, we're inverse because of the different types of portfolio holdings that we're investing with. Your portfolio for Michigan Class would actually thrive. If, not that we want that, but the expected performance is to follow the Fed funds rate. So that is what you would see. So you will see fluctuation. And you can expect that fluctuation, but it won't be abrupt any more than what you would see the Fed funds, changing that rate. So 1/4%, say they move it 1/4%, then and our portfolio turns over in 60 days. So a lag of 60 days-ish, we may get to 25 basis points lower than where we were based on that rate. So you've got that movement, but you have the way to anticipate that movement. Because there is, just like anything else that you might invest in, there's an expected performance. And so the expected performance for Michigan Class would be to follow that US Treasury line up and down.
Cindy, what is our average return on investment right now for percentage wise with our?
It depends on what we have invested. I can give you the rate sheet that we have. I went out for Dan earlier. I know we had a problem. I'm glad Julie's here. We had a problem with one of the local bank CDs currently. Some issues, and the road commission cannot invest with Michigan Class unless the county does. So she has been wanting us to do that for some time as well. They gave, I think it was 0.02% on a CD. So this would make it a little bit more accessible. And have a better rate with less complication. And I think almost all of the counties in Michigan currently use Michigan
For
Class.
that don't, right now, their investment policy. So because you're all investing together, we acknowledge all of the investment policies and get all of the board approvals before anyone participates. And one county wasn't able to meet those standards. And then there's 3 in the UP, 2 in the UP.
What's the percentage that the Michigan Class takes, I guess, out of their investing?
Sure. So the way Michigan Class is set up is it's for public agencies by public agencies. So the rate that's posted there on our website is your rate. The Michigan Class Board of Trustees wanted to make it so there were no fees taken out after that. So the fees are actually taken out before the rate is posted. It's 13 basis points, so 0.13% are taken out. And it's actually your pool in the state. And no other way to put it, I'm the hired help basically to oversee the pool and all the administration of the pool. And that 13 basis points comes to my team before the rate is posted. So if you see a 5% interest rate posted on the website today, that means that our portfolio team was able to get a 5.13. But the rate that you see that's posted is the rate that you will see in your account. And there are no fees then taken out. The statements are pretty simple. It's the dollar you invested, plus your interest, and then your new dollar total, because we reinvest it unless you tell us otherwise. So it just kind of compounds every day. But that's how that works. There's a board of trustees made up of your peers across the state, different all entity types. There's 13 of them. They meet quarterly. And my team, we provide them recommendations and they approve kind of the operations, including the fee. And she is right. In Alpena County, I believe the road commission's dollars come through the county. There are some counties where they're separate. So we do have many road commission accounts separate. And then we have many road commissions and departments that invest through their county. So on our end, we can do it both ways. In Alpena, the different departments with the different tax IDs all come through the county. So for all of those public agency, different separate tax ID departments in Alpena County to invest with Michigan Class, they would need the county to be able to have the account open for them. Some have them separate, the road commission, the DDA, some have, different things. But in Alpena County, it's my understanding they're all through the county, which would mean any entity at the county level that would like to invest with class would go through the county's account once opted in.
Is this just an investment account? It's not the retirement? You're not talking?
Correct. It's not retirement. Okay, yes. Okay. And it's not personal, I wish. It's only public agencies.
It's kind of
All
interesting,
public
yeah.
agencies. Yeah, so like your libraries, your fire authorities, your commissions, they can all, schools, townships, villages, cities. Yeah.
So how, there was a statement on one of them that said that your town or municipality could benefit from being in this. How would the benefit be to the county to have employees in this program?
The benefit to the county to have other municipalities within the count. I want to make sure I understand your question.
Actually, I think it was where it said, it could, benefit or like I think it was a financial, one chart.
One benefit that we have as counties begin to become webbed with Michigan Class accounts, all public agencies having Michigan Class accounts, is that you can transfer class to class and you don't have to send checks in the mail to those. So like all the townships and such can pay the schools just an automatic transfer, confirmations immediately, sent immediately, and interest is here one day and then there the next. So there is that benefit, but I think that's not what your question is.
No, I think this is it right here. Investing with Michigan Class could mean more for your local community. Use this investment calculator to see how much you could have earned.
Yes, okay, so that paper, and I think the chairman also referred to that if you could earn so much in it since January 1st. So that is a paper version of an actual live live calculator tool that we have on the website. It's a great way to make decisions. It's not a crystal ball, it doesn't forward face, but it does allow you to look at a statement that you have or a document that shows what performance maybe a fund did have in the past for certain dates. You can plug those dates in, plug those dollar amounts in, and it will give you the actual of what, if that money was sitting in Michigan Class during those exact dates, what it would have earned there. It's a good way to kind of try and make decisions based on apples to apples performance. So you can, you're in the same market time frame. But that's what that is. So you can use that calculator tool. That's a paper copy, but there's a live version on the website that you can actually plug numbers into. So like the CD you mentioned, if, you had a duration that CD was maturing, you put those numbers in, the date that you put it in, the date that you were going to take it out. And it would just tell you if it was in Michigan Class. I wish, no,
Okay,
for the county.
okay, that's what I'm trying to understand. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's just public
understand.
agencies, yeah. Thank you for your question.
Any other questions?
No.
Oh, not just from you.
I was gonna ask you if this was backed by the FDIC, but I see here in the fine print that it's not. Is it backed by any local or state government?
So, nothing is backed by FDIC, just, in language, FDIC is insurance. And FDIC is insurance that is put in place to protect against bank or depository default. So it's got a very specific target. It doesn't apply to anything except for banks. So, we are not a bank, but I will say that our bank deposits, we do bank deposit some funds within the pool because in Public Act 20, you have a number of items you can invest in. One of them are bank products. All of the bank products that are in the pool are FDIC and some of them are additionally collateralized. So yes, if we're investing in bank products, they are FDIC insured. But the remaining of the items within the pool, they would not apply to FDIC. It's not designed for that. So it would be something different. So it's either, it's a holding that's rated by the SEC or by Standard & Poor's, or it's, there's different rating tools. But the bank lane, yes. All of the products that we do have in the pool are FDIC insured, some collateralized as well. We don't have collateralization in the state of Michigan, but because I have team members that work in other states that oversee other pools for other states, and some of those states mandate collateralization. So some of our bank relationships span both types of states. And so sometimes Michigan gets advantage of that collateralization as well. But at a minimum, yes, FDIC.
Okay.
Other questions?
Commissioners, the treasurer is looking for a motion to approve participation with Michigan Class. And that would allow her to sign into this. So whether you're ready to do that today or whether you want to take some time, that's the motion she's looking for.
So if we approve it, then the treasurer can just automatically invest into this.
We should be in the process.
Should be able to open the account. And then it's up to you on how you manage the inflows and outflows afterwards, but it would opt in to allow us to give her the paperwork and documentation to oversee and look over your investment policy, make sure you can approve and opt in.
So basically, it's just giving the city another tool to invest our funds. Cindy, I said.
Oh,
You got to hear, you can't read.
we don't need the city to do this.
No, Cindy, I said, another tool for her to do her investments. And
Okay.
I think I'll make that motion.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Peterson, support by Commissioner Ludlow. Any other discussion?
Ryan, are you guys already on board with this? Is this vote already passed your board?
We have not, no.
So
We
you're,
had to wait for this point, so.
okay.
Well, and they wouldn't have to.
Correct.
Okay.
If they were separate, standalone, we do go to the commission's boards. But if they're under the county, they wouldn't.
Well, I'm
They
saying if
open their
we
CDs.
decide we approve it and they choose not to do it, that's up to them, correct? But they can do it through,
And so you can open as many sub-accounts under the county's account as you'd like. Unless they're managing their funds separately, then yes, it would be a sub-account and they would just communicate to you, we would like a sub-account in Michigan Class, and then you would coordinate. And all of those reports then would stand alone separate from the counties. They would be a road commission sub-account or multiple road commission sub-accounts for multiple road projects. You can, there's no limits.
okay. So we have motion and support. Any other discussion? If not, could you do a roll call?
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Konashevsky,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. You have my contact information on those forms. Please feel free to reach out if you have questions. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Okay, next up, Francis, give us our presentation.
Well, thank you for allowing me to come and present our 2024 annual report on behalf of NEMSCA, Northeast Michigan Community Service Agency. Those of you that don't know me, my name is Francis Alani. I'm Strategy and Development Director for our agency. And I've been with the agency for over 15 years now. And I've been presenting in front of this board. I think this is my 8th or 9th year going over the annual report. So once again, thank you for having me. So everybody should have an annual report in front of you. And I just want to spend a few minutes going through some of the exciting things that we were able to accomplish in the last fiscal year. But as a reminder, if you look at page 3, our mission is to enhance quality of life by empowering individuals and strengthening communities. We are a trusted agency that has been around in Alpena for over 55 years, providing programs to enhance the lives of the people in this community and our surrounding area. You can see the map on the right. Of course, Alpena County is smack dab in the middle of that circle. But Alpena, along with 10 other counties in the region, are what our service area is. But you can see that there's many other blue counties outside of that circle, and that basically means that we provide at least one program in all of those counties. more likely than not, it's the Head Start preschool program. So we actually touch into 22 counties in the state of Michigan. There are 27 community action agencies in the state and over 1,000 across the country. Almost every county in the whole United States has a community action agency, just like NEMSCA, that's there to provide these important programs to people in our area. Moving to the next page on the left side is just 4 quick bullet points about who we are. So we provide comprehensive programs and services for all ages. Sometimes internally, we refer to ourselves as the agency that provides programs from cradle to grave. Because we have early Head Start preschool and GSRP. We also have homeless and prevention services. We have weatherization. We have volunteer programs. We have school success programs. And then we're also designated as the Region 9 Area Agency on Aging, meaning that a lot of the programs that are helping our senior citizens that are in need come funneled through our agency as well, which is point number 3 there. We are a 4-time Detroit Free Press Top Workplace Awardee, which we're super proud about, meaning that most of the staff that work for us have said that, yes, working at NEMSCA is an amazing place to work. The culture is great. The benefits are great. And we have 600 plus staff at any given time, with a lot of openings too, of course. So if we were fully rostered, we'd have over 700 staff on our payroll. And like I said, we've been around for over 55 years, acting as your community action agency. Page number 5 talks about a snapshot of a year in review. And this is the first time we've been able to gather this data for this report this year. So I'm excited to be able to show that. You can see how many individuals we served per county. Of course, Alpena County had the most individuals served, more likely than not because of the population, right? Because Alpena is more populated than a lot of the surrounding counties. But also we're headquartered here, right? A lot of people are very familiar with our agency throughout our region, but Alpena we have that close tie to because we have our headquarters here. Interesting graph below that indicates and shows how many individuals based by age bracket. And you can see on the left and on the right are the greatest amount of individuals we provided services for. So the ages of 0 to 5, of course, through our early Head Start preschool programs, and then ages 65 through 74, and then 75 plus. So that's that senior component. So really, one would argue the most vulnerable people in our community are the ones that we're providing that support for. Next page on 6 goes through our leadership. Of course, the top picture is Lisa Bolin, our CEO, Executive Director. And she gives a quote about what the look back in the last fiscal year and what we're hoping to do going forward. The left side of the page shows pictures of our senior management or our senior directors. And on the right is a list of our tripartite board. As a reminder, we're kind of unique as a community action agency to have something called tripartite. What that means is we have 3 sectors of people that are on our board. Number 1 is our public sector, which is also elected officials. Historically, that's always been county commissioners. And so we have, just giving a shout out to Commissioner Ludlow, who's our current NEMSCO rep. So thank you for coming on to our board and being our elected official for Alpena County. And I see some familiar faces in this room that have been on our board in the past. So thank you very much for all of your support in that manner. We also have private citizens, but our 3rd sector is what we call our consumer sector. This makes us unique as a community action agency, meaning that 1/3 of our board are either low income themselves or represent low income people. So it's really important to have their voice at the table when it comes to our board. Moving on to the next 2 pages goes over our annual revenue, our annual expenditures. On the left side, it shows how we're funded. So just over 60% comes from the federal, 34.6 is state and other contracts, and about 5% is our local in-kind. To the right shows our expenditures. So you can see, once again, the yellow/green color, the 52.3% is all of the funding that goes back out in our early childhood services division. So once again, that's those 3 programs, early Head Start, and GSRP. And then you can see a breakdown of our other programs and how that looks like when it goes to the expenditures. I always like to draw attention to that 4% that's in that circle. We're very proud of that as an agency. It's been consistent for as long as I can remember that we've had an indirect or an administrative percentage of just 4%. meaning that 96 cents of every dollar goes back out into our staff that are running the programs themselves, and the individuals we're providing that support for. Moving on to the next two pages is our program impact section. On the left side is that all important data, right? Every year when I have my data specialist pull me those numbers, I'm always blown away by the amount of individuals that we've provided services to in the last year. You know, you can see a lot of these are highlighted, and it's not all inclusive either, because we have a lot of programs. We have over 30 programs. But just for a few, just under 2,700 children were enrolled in our early childhood services. Almost 7,000 were impacted by our school success program. And what's so exciting about that program, I think most of you are familiar with it, but it started here in Alpena County. And it has exploded, and now it's been in multiple counties throughout Northeast Michigan. We've had almost 8,200 people that were provided some support with our aging division and so on and so forth. To the right are just a couple stories I wanted to highlight in this year's annual report, because sometimes it's really easy to forget that each of those numbers I just went over are individuals. Each of those represents a person. So on the right, I just pulled two of the thousands of people's lives that we've impacted in the last year to highlight. The top one is somebody that's from this county. This is a young man that started and got enrolled into our school success program. When he started, you can see that picture on the top left was the first few days he started working with our school success liaison. Pictures really tell a story, right? You can see that this young boy was probably very shy, very troubled, you know, and it seemed like maybe not very trusting. And then you can see the picture to the right was taken just a few months past that. And then the picture below is with his current school success liaison that provided that support. And look at that smile. He looks like a completely different kiddo, right? The bottom one is a story highlighting our Bridges of Self-Sufficiency program that talks about this young individual that really started off destitute, worked really hard with our mentor, and now is working as an apprentice in Coletta down in Iosco County. The next couple of pages are more for informational. We're talking about our initiatives that we really took part into last year. First one was the Child Care Innovative Initiative. We know we live in a child care desert. Most of the state of Michigan is a child care desert. So NEMSCA partnered with NEMHOG and Develop Iosco to work and see what can we do to help eliminate that. So we created a report and a study, and there's some really cool initiatives that are happening in the next year that hopefully next year, this time I can come back and report on. I'm going to skip the next one and talk a little bit about, we started a water assistance program. We have the BOSS program expansion, and we are also able to provide some direct services with CSBG funding that came to us last year. Now, the reason why I skipped that last one is PACE Northeast Michigan is set to open up in 2025, coming up real quick. And we have a special guest. I hope you don't mind that he's crashing the party for a minute, but I wanted to have him talk just for a few minutes about what this looks like, what the connection is with NEMSCA, our agency. And then after that, I would be happy to answer any questions regarding NEMSCA, and Jeff would answer any questions regarding PACE. So Jeff.
Thank you, Fran.
Yep.
Hello, I'm Jeff Meaden. I'm the Executive Director of PACE Northeast Michigan. Some familiar faces, very happy to see that. So there's been some media attention about the PACE project and what is going on, but we are at the point, like Fran said, that we're getting very close to becoming operational. So we expect to complete our state readiness review with Michigan Department of Health and Human Services in May. After that review, it will go to CMS, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, for our final approval, which we will get within 90 days after they receive that report. So our PACE program may be operational as soon as August or September of this year, pending those reviews. I wanted to give a packet, so each one of you guys have a packet kind of describing PACE, the model of care and what we're bringing to the community. I don't have a lot of time on the agenda today, but I'm happy to come back at any time if anyone has any questions about the. But in a nutshell, PACE is the program of all-inclusive care for the elderly, and the overall vision of this program is to serve those who are eligible for nursing home level of care and need nursing home level of care, but want to remain independent, want to remain in their own homes. And what PACE does is a combination of in-home as well as in-center services to make that happen. There's 14 PACE programs operating in the state currently. They have grown to over 30 PACE centers. So a huge amount of growth over the last 30 years in Michigan. But in our state, we have defined service areas, and PACE has never been available in Northeast Michigan. So we will bring this, a very well-established, very well-respected program to this community within the next few months. So I do want to be respectful of time, but I do want to open up if anyone has any questions about the PACE program or extend my time to come back at a different day.
Any questions? We should be good.
Thank you.
Are there any questions about the NEMSCA annual either or no? Awesome. Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay. Next item, reports. So it looks like, I know we had facilities is moved to next week, so we don't really have, unless you have something. Airport committee? Joe?
We got a meeting on May 1st. I reported on at the last meeting that we were doing all right there. And Steve's last day is the 30th. And we're gonna have an interim director there for a while.
I'm so sorry. Steve actually just emailed us recently and said he's changing his final day will be this Friday.
Pardon?
Yeah, his last day will be this Friday.
Friday.
Okay. We just found out recently, so.
Okay. Courts and public safety, we canceled that, so
We did, yes, and I think the last meeting on the 17th, I think that I updated information for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
so we should be good there.
Yep.
And personnel, we canceled due to the ice storm. That was easy. Thanks for all the updates. Okay, and we're gonna, our commissioner reports we'll do on a quarterly basis, so once we get back on that quarterly basis, we'll get some updates.
Okay.
So the next item is a special orders. Okay, so we do have a special order, so we have two individuals be retiring, and Wes is one of them. So I'll read the tribute. So it says, Wes Wilder, Alpena County Maintenance Superintendent. Let it be known that it is with deep appreciation for the hard work, dedication, and professionalism that Wes Wilder has put forth on behalf of the people of Alpena County that we offer this expression of our thanks and best wishes in his retirement. As the people of Alpena County recognize the loyalty and devotion to public service of this conscientious, can't say that, conscientious individual, we add our sentiments of gratitude for a job well done. In his 43 years of service to the people of Alpena County, Wes has been working in the public arena during an era of great change. As Wes well knows, the recent financial pressures and changing expectations have combined to make the recent past a challenging time to work in the local government. With the personal sense of duty Wes brings to work each day, however, he has been able to meet these challenges with enthusiasm and genuine interest and efficiency in public service. This has been deeply appreciated both by citizens and organizations in Alpena County who have benefited directly from Wes's work, as well as other public servants who have witnessed this fine example. There can be little doubt that the record of Wes and his responsibilities as county maintenance superintendent over the past 43 years will continue to reap rewards for the people of Alpena County well into the future. We offer our thanks of this personal milestone and special tribute. Therefore, this document is signed and dedicated to join the citizens of Alpena County and saluting Wes Wilder and acknowledgement of his 43 outstanding years in public service. May he enjoy the happiest of retirement. So Wes, if you'd like to come up here, give you this.
Right back from-
Go over here. She's gonna take a picture.
Oh.
Yay.
Hopefully they let you keep your shirt, Wes.
So we have another one. I don't want to read this again.
I'll get it to him. I'll see him tomorrow.
This is similar, except his is different amount of years and couple of different things. So again, we appreciate both Wes and Steve for their service to Alpena County. So we'll get that. You said you'll get that to Steve. And just last thing on that, on Friday at noon in the lobby of the courthouse, we'll have cake and coffee in honor of Wes and Steve's retirement. So thank you, Wes. Okay. No unfinished business, so we'll move on to, me. So I had a couple things on the agenda. One of them was the drug and alcohol testing. Let me find my document. So back in January, the sheriff came to the courts and public safety and talked about the drug and alcohol testing that the county has been doing. After they came, the next day, I think there was an article by True North, and Mr. Bruce Duncan, owner of Thunder Bay Physical, came to speak to during public comment to the full board on January 28th, actually, regarding the county competing with local businesses for drug and alcohol testing. He did reach out to me, and I think, he said he reached out to his person? Are you his person?
No, I never heard nothing from
Did
him.
anybody else get a response?
I'll just have a copy of what I got today here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, he mentioned that he reached out to both myself and his commissioner, I believe. Did send an email to Jesse on March 20th, indicating that he had a conversation regarding this topic. And he just wanted to find out what the status was of a discussion. And I was planning to, and I had been looking into it. And so I guess I wanted to kind of talk about with the rest of the commissioners and get their thoughts, and I'll kind of chime in with my thoughts. But anyway, last year the Sheriff's Department did 826 screenings for the year, and that was from April 24 through the end of the year. The drug screenings and alcohol testing generated $22,671. Out of that, the cost of that was $5,673 for a net gain of $16,998 to the county. And that was done by Eric Smith, our sheriff, who has, as you all know, he's always looking for ways to help find additional ways to generate revenue for the county. During my conversations with Deputy Lash, some of the benefits of drug testing for the county are basically for district court. The testing provides results the same day. And I was told by Deputy Lash that a lot of times that makes a difference when we have an individual coming into district court, they're tested in it helps identify drug use prior to sentencing, which helps structure the sentencing of that individual. It's also a tool, a useful tool for the court systems. Cost of the tests, drug testing is $25, the PBT is 10. And Deputy Lash, from my conversation with him, said he was working on a grant which would help lower the costs for the individuals that are required the testing. Alpena County is not the only county that does this, and granted, we're probably one of the few, but Oakland and Wayne County do this as well. During my conversation with Deputy Lash, he said MDOC does all their own drug testing and alcohol testing, and is required by court, which is state funded. Am I correct by saying that? Okay. If I say anything that's not true, just call me out. So key factors in this, I believe, is that the counties, key factors in the counties, drug testing does result, or testing is that they're related to court orders, and that the county should be able to provide a service to the individuals that are result actions that bring them to the court. And so that's my take on it, and I just open it up to the rest of the commissioners if they have any comments on that and what their thoughts are. Because I do know that, again, when I did a Google search for drug and alcohol testing for Alpena County last night, I just went out on Google, and unfortunately, I think one of the businesses that closed still showed up, but Thunder Bay Physical Therapy did not show up on my list when I Googled it last night. So again, I feel like, and this is just my personal opinion, that it's not that we're seeking to take business away from a local business, but we are also providing, in my mind, a service to those individuals that have to go to court and get tested, because it's literally, as I was told by Deputy Lash, that the difference between getting tested and finding the results out like within an hour, I don't know, it's probably quicker than that, but finding out the results while they're sitting over in his office before they go into court, or having to wait a day or two to finally get the results back. So I just, like I said, I wanted to have this discussion just because this was brought to the board, and just wanted to at least acknowledge the individual that brought his complaint, if you will, to us, and let him know that we did have a discussion.
I remember right, the tethering, Eric, we started that 8-9 years ago, like first, then we sort of ended it,
We started it back up, last 6 months.
but we had it. That's been, I
Yeah,
remember when we
former-
first come on the board.
Sheriff did tethering, and then
Yeah, right. You know, there's more counties than the two that you mentioned. Alcona County does, drug and alcohol testing. I mean, it's pretty common with the counties.
well, and as my conversation with the sheriff too, this morning we talked, and as I stated, that I feel like the testing, it's not like we're out there trying to
No,
generate
right.
business. We're offering a service that as a result of the courts. So we didn't go seeking that, and I don't feel, I know Mr. Duncan's concern or issue was the fact that he's paying taxes to the county. But I guess you look at those other counties that are providing that same service, individuals down there. And I know when I Googled it, found state, tons of places showed up. So again, they may have obviously they have probably a lot more demand down there. But again, like I said, I feel like this is, we're not trying to eliminate business. And I don't know what happened to that one that was down at Save-A-Lot area. Do you know if that switched over to a different company, or did it just get eliminated?
I'm not sure. You're talking about rapid results?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they're doing.
I heard they went out of business.
You know, the fact of the matter is, the doing police work costs a lot of money. And we're always asking the public for more money because we provide services. If we can do something to reduce the costs on the community, I mean, we have to look at it. And that's what I meant by we have to be more business-like, not to steal business
Yeah.
out of a person's pocket, but we have to find ways to
Well,
make it work.
yeah, and I know that when you think of, in his case, Thunder Bay Physical, it's Thunder Bay Therapy, physical therapy. That's not what I would associate with a place that does drug and alcohol testing. So I'm sure he saw an opportunity to look at, do the drug and alcohol testing, maybe thought that there was a need. And I feel that, again, because the county, the court systems are the ones requiring the drug and alcohol testing, to me, as a county, we should have every right, I feel,
To choose
to.
how you want it done.
Yeah, well, not to choose, I mean, and again, the individuals do not have to go next door to see Deputy Lash to do the drug and alcohol testing here. They can choose to go there. One of the other things was, you said we don't, I think Deputy Lash, and you mentioned it too, we don't do the drug testing for DOT. This is just non-DOT?
Yeah, this is for non-DOT. Originally, we were thinking we could move into that area, but also do like pre-employment testing.
Yeah.
We have not done one pre-employment testing for an outside, a private company or anything like that. So, you know, we've just been going to with the court ordered stuff.
And I just want to point out that initially this conversation started a long time ago because it was going to be a cost savings to the county. Costs a lot of money to move these inmates back and forth to testing facilities and everything else. And that, you know, that was the initial discussion, and then it turned into a little bit of a revenue source.
Well, this actually is for the people that have to go to court. As I stated that when the individuals, and again, I don't know how this works out, but Deputy Lash indicated that people will have to come to court. Again, depending on, you know, their test results, that's how their sentence will be the outcome of their sentencing.
Subsidizing court security, subsidizing bailiffs and having somebody on the court campus. So there are expenses that we're covering.
Yeah, and it's not like we're out there, like the sheriff indicated that we're out trying to do testing for private businesses. You know, this is strictly individuals that are coming to the court system.
That's not his only business there too. He lists other items of business,
Thunder Bay-
physical therapy.
Yeah, well, that's what I said when.
So it's not depriving him of that much.
Well, and you know, when I indicated that, when I think of Thunder Bay Physical Therapy, I would not think of drug and alcohol testing. So again, you know, I know how I feel. I don't feel that we're out there trying to take away business from
Right.
from a private entity, someone's personal business. Again, I do feel that we have every right to provide a service to the individuals that are coming into court to be able to provide that testing for them. So I don't know, do we need to just have this discussion? I don't know if we.
It would be my advice to the board that, I mean, frankly, this is built into our 2025 budget. We're a third of the way through the year. I would say that this be tabled and considered maybe as we develop the 26 budget for further discussion. We'll have a better idea of really what the numbers are anyway. It's our first year of really expanding into this, so I think it's
This would be the
premature
first
to,
full year.
right, so it'd be a little premature, I think, to make a hefty decision that, you know, might really not really go in the direction that needs to go. So,
Well, again, I don't know if I've changed my mind. I think that I support what the sheriff has done. Again, I don't feel that, you know, the county is out trying to take business because I know we have at least maybe one or two others in the community that could say the same thing. So
I feel we should decide now.
well, as Jesse indicated, we've already budgeted for this year. So
And another thing to note is when they are given that order from the court to take that test, all those businesses that provide that are given to them. They can go to those businesses if they want.
But if you don't decide now, will it surface again and again?
Well, I mean, we could,
Even though you're saying the
we could
budget,
make a motion, guess, to continue doing what we're currently
Status
doing.
quo.
But I don't think you would need a motion. It already is. The only way you would need a motion is if you're changing the course that you've already set.
Yeah,
I think it would just be
I don't think we need him.
move forward. I can reach out to Bruce following this meeting and let him know the decision of the board.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't think we need
So-
a motion or to vote on it.
yeah, then I would say we
Not doing
continue
nothing
doing
wrong.
what we're doing, support the sheriff. And what he's been doing, just carry on.
Right.
We did have a discussion and I think and again, I don't want to be making that decision. If you all agree, then we'll just continue doing what we're doing.
I'm okay with it as long as we don't go into the private sector.
yeah, that's, yeah.
You know.
That's kind of my thought.
Okay. Well, and again, he's literally just doing it strictly for individuals coming into the courts.
I understand that, okay, he's got the business and those businesses pay a lot of taxes, probably more than the standard homeowner. So a lot of times, like he makes the comment as being a taxpayer, and I think we understand that, but that's probably the price of his doing business too. So that's my feeling.
Okay. We can move on unless there's any other discussion. Okay. Next item is the recycling bins at the Northern Lights Arena. Bailey's here, so he did reach out to me the other day. One of the things that we talked about at our facilities 2 months ago. So the 25th, I think, is 2 months. There was a motion to move the bins. We had this unexpected ice storm, which kind of pushed everything back. We do have a meeting Thursday. So I did tell Bailey that at least I said I'm one commissioner. Again, if you guys agree to give them the 2-week extension, at least get us through, we get us 2 weeks would get us through the meeting that we have Thursday. And then I think by the time our finance meeting, we have a resolution to that issue. Are you guys all good with that?
Yeah.
Well, Thursday, we will be talking
Okay,
about
we
it.
haven't talked about it yet.
4 of them already placed, so doesn't he? He's gonna put 4 at the high school? Is that?
Yeah, so we'll have those discussions on Thursday. If you got a list of places, Bill, get them ready to have a discussion on Thursday. So you good with that, Bailey? Yep. Okay. And then the last item that I have was the surcharge that, so again, Bailey reached out to me, asked me about who should we make a check out to. I did talk to Jeremy and said that that initial invoice, if you will, that Jeremy put together for snow plowing for the Northern Lights Arena had a surcharge on his, I guess, contract that indicated that the $500 would go back to the county for the surcharge fund. And when I was talking to Bailey, I said that, we've never charged for the surcharge or charged a surcharge for the use of Northern Lights or the fairgrounds. And I didn't feel like we needed to do that at this point. And again, I told him that we would have that discussion today, but my personal feeling is because we haven't done it, I don't feel that we need to do that. I think the only reason that this, in a sense, came up was due to the fact that Jeremy was putting together a contract that I think we had asked, or there was a discussion at that meeting, seems like forever ago, but when he put that contract together with the numbers, he had that surcharge in it. So I said that I told Bailey that we would have a discussion today, but my feeling is that there's no need to charge more than Northeast Michigan Material Management Authority for a surcharge to use Northern Lights. I did say that what it looks like before the event is gonna, what it'll look like after the event. I know we've had events at the fairgrounds and other places, and sometimes things get left over. But there will be, I did tell Jeremy that we'd have to give recycling time to get those trailers together, and I don't know how quickly that happens, but it's not, it doesn't have to be that day. But give them a few days to be able to get that stuff picked up and then moved out of there. So if you guys are all good with the fact that we don't charge them because we haven't done it, we will just move on like we've done in the past.
I'm
Good with that?
I'm good.
I'm good with it.
Yep.
So don't worry about the 500 and we'll move on.
Thanks.
And now we'll switch it over to Jesse.
So commissioners, we had, as you all know, last week, we began a collection site for tree debris throughout the county, where we were allowing people to come and drop off brush and limbs and branches and whatnot. We were breaking that down. You had generously allocated a certain amount of money from our contingency fund just to get us started. We have come below that amount so far, but also we had put in a grant through the Community Foundation for Northeast Michigan's Urgent Needs Fund, specifically crafted for both addressing issues as a result of the storm and the aftermath and cleanup. We were awarded, and we just got word, actually the check was just picked up yesterday. We were awarded $5,000 towards that cleanup for equipment rental and reimbursement for some of the costs that we've already spent, as well as some gas cards for individuals who've reached out to us who wanted to volunteer and go onto the different township areas, back roads and whatnot, and try helping individuals who can't get that debris off their lawn and into town on their own. These gas cards would reimburse them just for their fuel, but they have trailers and stuff, and we have a number of them I'll be reaching out to this week. We did take a slight pause following the holiday, but we were looking to begin operations again this Thursday through the following Monday, at which time we'll revisit and see if we need to continue it for any, I guess, further duration of time. So I guess I'm just looking for two things. One is to accept the grant fund, and we would place this. I was going to talk to the treasurer. She was with us when I stopped in earlier, but I think we may have to create a line item. So I would just need permission to have that line item created to take the funds in. And then if I could disperse it as outlined in the grant, that would be helpful.
So you want a motion to that effect?
If so, yeah.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support.
We have a motion by Commissioner Fournier and a support by Commissioner Bray. Any discussion?
I guess just one quick note, we have been averaging around 20 to 30 different vehicles coming in each day, some coming back multiple times. So it is being used. People seem to be pretty happy with it.
And just again, to make the point, because I want to stress that this was in a collaboration with the Alpena Township and the county. So we don't take city stuff. But I guess if someone showed up.
Individuals, yeah, we don't allow municipalities or companies to utilize the site.
But the city will pick up all the stuff that's dragged out to the.
Right, they have a DPW that's working there, but again, if somebody wants to out their lawn sooner, they're welcome.
No, I pick up the big lots. So, okay, so we had a motion and support. All those in favor
Don't
signify
you
by.
tell you roll call, spend it.
No,
Roll call.
well, we're accepting the money. We're not spending
We're
it.
spending it.
Reading it, roll call just to be safe.
Okay.
Be a creep line, don't you?
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Konashevsky,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Motion carried.
This is in follow-up to our previous meeting. The chairman had expressed that we had a very lengthy list of volunteers. We'd like to do a small appreciation event for these individuals. We were looking at Wednesday, the 30th from 5 PM to 6 PM in the courthouse lobby. So just looking for approval to hold that event.
Doesn't work for me.
They gave you the state.
What time, Jesse, on?
We did it so that way people, again, I don't know if you saw the list of people that had volunteered. We have
Yeah.
a huge number of people, so it's not gonna, we've done something for each one of the people, of the individuals. It may not work out for everybody. It's just like we got 8 commissioners and we got one that can't make it. So when you get over 200 people potentially,
It's
it might not work out for everybody, but we will get them there.
Yeah.
Their,
Recognition.
so mark your calendars, April 30th, 5 to 6,
5 to 6 p.m.
Yep. Courthouse.
Lots of chocolate sounds good.
All right. That's all I have for that. Moving on to the road commission expansion discussion. As you recall, we did send a letter to the road commission inviting them to this meeting to give input and any type of feedback from the letter and what the board is looking at doing. So Ryan, I think you're somewhere there you are.
So you'll notice, I passed out a few things for you guys there. Just wanted you to have all your information that, in front of you that we could discuss. And I should back up for a second, because I got a couple of commissioners I have personally introduced myself to. I'm Ryan Brady. I'm the Managing Director of the Alpena County Road Commission. So, this discussion pops up from time to time, and I know it was addressed back in 2007 by the board, by the county board, and they ultimately decided to remain at 3 road commission board members. The Alpena County Road Commission has been a 3-man board since 1894. Why the legislature, I don't know why they changed the law to, I didn't dig that deep into it, to allow expanding it. Currently, you're sitting at 42 road commissions with 3 board members, 34 with 5 board members. And that leaves 7 left. 2 are a county charter. 5 are actually road departments of the county, which that kind of led me to something I wanted to touch on as far as financially, because part of what I want to talk to you about is financial impact. I don't know if everybody understands how our money works at the road commission. We receive money through the state and federal sources, but ultimately the county is just a pass-through. Act 51 requires our money to go to the county board, but the county board doesn't control our money. So ultimately, you can give me some of yours, but I can't give you any money. That's how it works. So, so when we're talking about, adding road commission board members, there would be no financial impact to the county because that comes out of my budget, not yours. But that's also a concern when I look at our operations right now. And it's not just because I'm the manager and I'm operating it. I feel we're doing pretty well. I did hand each one of you a breakdown of an estimate of what our road commission board member costs us. It's just an estimate because it's based mainly on how many meetings are attended and the mileage between events. Right now, we're sitting at about $14,000 a member. 2 more members, that's going to bump us up to close to $30,000. That's my crack seal budget for local roads. A couple of other things that I've kind of heard it through this process, reported in the media and whatnot. Some of the possible benefits don't exist. And it's in that road commission handbook that I gave you. Mainly chapter 1 touches on road commission board member duties. The road commission board is ultimately a policymaking board, and they also set the budget is all they do. They only have 1 employee, and I know it was spoken about. If 2 members could talk outside of a board meeting, they could discuss personnel issues. I'm the only personnel. Everyone else at the road commission works for me. And that's, in the county road law. So there really aren't personnel issues to discuss because they all should be handled by me, you know, and if a board isn't happy with something that's going on with that, then obviously they need to address that with me as their. You know, another thing that was brought up was transparency. I don't really know, I guess, how two or more board members would add to transparency, especially if they can talk outside of a meeting. Because I've made the point before that I really don't see a reason why we should have any discussions outside of a board meeting where the public can attend. I'm very open and transparent when it comes to that kind of thing. So I think would actually do the opposite. Another thing that was brought up is they could more efficiently handle complaints. Again, that goes back to their only employee, which is me. The complaints should all be directed to me. I understand that they get complaints. Directing to me, if people are not happy with the result they get from talking to me, then they can attend a full board meeting and let the full board address it. I know representation was brought up. Obviously, you as a county board that appoints road commission board members, you appoint them through a interview process. There isn't certain representation throughout the county, you know, like county board members are elected. So I did give you a copy of my budget, just so you had that, if you wanted to look at that. The money that we spend, the majority of it has very strict limitations on what we can spend it on. So when I'm listening to you guys talk about spending money on certain things and the way it's been allocated in your budget, a lot of our budget, approximately half of it, depending on what grants we receive at that time, have to be used for certain purpose. So when we're talking about making decisions and having a larger quorum to make a decision, they're not that difficult in that aspect because we do discuss those and the board works on my recommendation or doesn't, and we approve the budget in that way. So making decisions to spend that money is not the same as a county board. Oh, and I do, if anybody wants it, I do have a section of Act 51 that discusses how our money passes through the county. For you, and I don't want to put you guys to sleep up here. I just wanted to clear up a couple things as far as a road commission board member's role, you know, and express that there is some concern financially of the impact. And again, I don't feel we're having operational issues. I know Mr. Gorin brought that up, and I'd be very curious to know what.
I know what he's talking about, I think. So, you know, we have subcommittees and a lot of our commissioners are on subcommittees. And let's just say the three of us are on a subcommittee for this animal control, courts and public safety. Technically, we shouldn't be, two of us, Brenda and I, shouldn't be meeting to discuss whatever's going on in that particular subcommittee meeting. Because in effect, we would be quorum because even though we're 8 commissioners, the 3 of us are on a subcommittee, and I guess it'd be the same thing. So you have Jerry, Tom, and Gerald, Gerald. 3 road commissioners. And so if 2 of them decided, hey, what do you think about that project outside of a meeting, technically they're a quorum. And I would assume that's what he was getting at.
Oh, Mr. Gorin, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. You had just mentioned that we have a lot of issues there, and that was the point I made. So I'd be happy to discuss those later on if I do that. So I've always been very open, just so you guys know that. And I think Commissioner LaHaye has seen it, and Mr. Konashevsky's been to our meetings. Anytime you got a question, I'm willing to talk about it. I'm willing to talk to anybody, even if they don't agree with me. Are there any questions?
So I think I know when I first became a commissioner, so again, I point to the left and the right of me. Both Brenda and Bill were commissioner back when we first became commissioners, there was, I don't know if you want to call them concerns, but at that point, the road commissioners at that time, former Commissioner Ron McDonald had concerns that the road commission wasn't attending meetings, and there were some individuals that would go to Florida for 3 months or whatever it was. And so we made some changes back probably in 2017 or 18 as a board of commissioners with the pay and how that's set up for the road commissioners. And I know that this has come up because I was digging through my files and found some notes from, I guess, and I can't remember when it was, but a year or so ago, might have been, I don't know. Has it been when you were 2.5 years? I've been a commissioner that long? Wow. Yeah, but I did take up pull some information, or I have some information, which at the time, we were talking, do we do 5? Do we do 3? What do we do? So, and I'm just going to throw some counties out here just to show, I guess if you want to call it disparity or whatever you want to call it, Alcona. So I'm going to list off all the three member road, and it's not all of them, but I just picked different counties. But you have Alcona, Allegan, Alpena, Antrim, Berry, Bay, Benzine, and Branch. And all those have 3-member road commissions. And the 2 that jump out are Allegan, which is a population of 110, and Bay, which is a population of 110. So I guess, and I'm not making a point to go either way, but I'm just, so the disparity, so you have a population, a county with a population of 110,000 people in those, and they have a 3-member road commission. And then on the flip side, you have the counties that have a 5-member board, and you have Delta, and again, this is just some that I picked out: Delta, Dickinson, Eaton, Kalkaska, Muskegon, Otsego, Osceola, and Roscommon. And on the flip side, you've got 5-member boards on Roscommon, which has a population of 24, Osceola 24, Otsego 25,300, Kalkaska 1,700. So there is no, what's that?
1,000.
What did I say?
1,700.
No, yeah, 17,000. So it's quite a big difference. And then Eaton has 110. So
Not to cut you off, an interesting statistic to speak to what you're talking about. Oakland County Road Commission is the 2nd largest road commission in Michigan. They're a 3-member.
well, and again, I guess my point when I was pulling is to see, originally I was thinking, okay, well, Alpena County, we're a population of 29,000-ish. So what are other counties similar to us? And again, when you pull up Allegan, and I'm not making a point for either side, but 110,000 people, 3-member board, and like you said, I don't know what the population, would you say Oakland?
Oakland County, yeah.
I don't know what the population is to Oakland, but then again, on the flip side, you have a county as small as Kalkaska with 17,000 people, and they've got a 5-member board. So there is no probably rhyme or reason who does what. It's at some point, like you said, that, what was the year? 18 what?
1894.
1894, when they formed the road commission or whatever, someone said back then they just had horse and buggies.
We've had that discussion here. That's why we have right-of-ways that are only.
Yeah. So anyway, that's just some numbers that I pulled out, so. Any other comments from commissioners?
Okay, just for my own notes, because I have conflicting numbers, I just want to take the opportunity real quick. Ryan, and correct me if I'm wrong on reading these. So there's $300 per meeting is what they receive, with a $4,500 annual salary that's separate from the per meeting.
Yes.
Okay. And then $30 per DM as well on top of that meeting. So for each meeting, am I correct that they're making $705 Per month.
Per month.
And you only have one meeting per
Yeah,
month.
one meeting a month, yeah, yeah.
And if they do a special meeting, you call, they don't get the 300 for a special meeting, it's $3.
Okay. And how many hours do those meetings usually last?
It depends. Their streets 2 hours. It could be
Say an average that I've attended is probably an hour and 25.
30, hour and a half.
Yeah, I guess an hour.
Okay. Because I'm looking at the list that you gave the board, listing some of the expenses. But looking at this, making $350 for a 2-hour meeting per hour. Maybe some of that could be absorbed through a reorganization of those funds possibly. Just an idea.
Well, you're right, yeah, again, I mean, that's something I would have to make an adjustment.
They determine. The board determines
Our board salary.
right, you guys determine the salary, not us.
Okay. I just want to make sure. 'Cause
Well, and that's where going back to, I think it was 2017, there were some concerns again, because we had road commission board members that were going off to Florida and still were getting their full pay for not attending a meeting.
It used to be that 300 was an opt-out for insurance. And then you guys changed it to a 300 per
Yeah.
meeting because they don't qualify for.
Get all your questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other comments from the board or any other thoughts?
I'd just like to say I can see a 3-member board, how it's not working that good. I've sat on boards, John has, that if you buddy up together and if somebody tries to make a decision and the other two, we don't want that, ain't gonna happen, we're gonna say no, there you go. So I don't think it's fair to only have 3. I think it should be 5. That's just me. I mean, to make it fair, 5 would be better.
So obviously, what's your budget is the same time frame as our budget?
We're January 1.
Yeah, so it's the same time. So I know after having conversations with Jesse, I don't think that there's, even if we wanted to change something, it's not like we could just say, we've decided and this is what we're gonna do. There's a process and do you remember what the process is? It's kind of a long.
We're required to have at least one public hearing. I think the letter that we outlined, we were doing 2, just to make it fair for individuals because of when we hold our meetings. So people who work during the day, if they couldn't make the first meeting, they'd have an opportunity to attend the second meeting. And then to be honest, I would have to pull the letter to reference the rest, but it outlined the calendar.
It's not, so I think when you and I talked, because we just talked if, scenarios, if we were to do this, it wouldn't probably most likely be this year anyway. And again, by the time the whole process played out, you're talking, and again, this is if we did this, that if we were to move forward with going from a 3-person to a 5-person board, and then selecting people to be on that board, you're probably talking maybe September, October.
I would think it'd be near.
And at that point, I would think that for our sake and for your sake, that we just wait until the beginning of the year. And again, I'm over here rattling off stuff that you guys have anything,
Well, I will just also add, and this was not something that I even considered, but to Mr. Korn's, hypothetical scenario. I mean, let's just be realistic here. We all have lived in this town for a long time. Commissioner MacArthur's son is directly related to a lot of the voting that goes on at the road commission because that's the line of work they're in. And, I do similar work and I have had to recluse myself 6 times to votes here that affect something that involves me. When that happens at our level, 1/7 of the community we represent loses a voice in that vote. And there's a third of the population of our community loses a say in that vote. You know, and when you only have two other members, you're right. You know, I don't think for the size of our community and for the amount that we have going on, it's enough representation. You know, that scenario happens a lot.
Yeah.
So.
John, make a comment. The last couple of years, I attended most of the meetings at the road commission, and there was never a conflict there where somebody had to recuse himself. And it's a pretty good operation, just the way it is.
Chairman, just so you have those dates, as outlined. I'm sorry.
Understand why you want 5 and why you only want 3, but if it's worked this way since what, 1800?
Couple of years.
Yeah.
Times change.
Jesse?
I'm sorry, I just wanted to give you the dates. So in the letter, we outlined that we would do 2 public hearings. The first would be on May 27th from noon to 1. Second would be on June 24th, 4:30 to 5:30, with a vote by the board on July 8th. Obviously, that vote on July 8th is up to the board whether you want to actually hold it on that day or whether you want to put it off to a later date, but that would be the soonest you would be able to
So
vote.
that's 3 public hearings?
Two public hearings and a vote.
So you said June 31st, or no, I'm sorry, May 31st and June 8th,
May 27th, noon to 1,
May 20.
first public hearing.
Yep. And
June 24th, 4:30 to 5:30 would be the second public hearing.
is that when we have our?
I believe these are around within an hour or a half an hour of the meetings that you would have.
And what was the last thing?
July 8th would be the earliest you would do your vote.
July 8th?
We vote on it.
Okay, so even if we, but again, like I said, we're talking July 8th. So depending on which way we went, if we were to say we're gonna expand the road commission, we would, and again, I think because of, we still have to, and this is, I'm just talking out loud, but, you know, depending on, because I know I've talked to Brenda about this and Jesse, but you know, how that financially works out, because obviously midstream, we can't do much for this year because then that could impact your budget if we were to go that way, Ryan. So I think, you know, best case scenario is if we were to do something, if they were to expand it, we were to expand it, that most likely the best time to do that would be at the beginning of a fiscal year.
That's actually, I didn't mean to cut you off. That's actually covered on page 16 of this book.
See, why don't you just read it?
I don't like to cut you off when you're.
What page? 16?
Page 16, yeah. It'd be under elected or appointed commissioners and terms, it'd be the third paragraph. About halfway through that, it says all terms begin January 1st.
Yeah, so, and again, that's kind of where I was going with that, because although I think you would need to, because when you do your budgeting, just like us, we couldn't tell you on December 20th, oh, by the way, we're gonna appoint 2 new commissioners, because you would like to know that before that point, so you could do your budgeting appropriately for that, so.
Can you refresh me how we started on this? Why did we start?
How did we start on this?
I remember
You
seeing.
stood up and started talking about.
No. Why we wanted to start the process, so.
So I think there's been some concerns and discussions have come back to the commissioners, different commissioners. I know Travis has heard some stuff, and I don't know when you.
Well, the discussion came up when I was reading through the old stuff in 2017 also.
Yeah.
With 1 member gone to Florida, should it be 5? You know, it's hard now for any of them to take a vacation, and I mean, who doesn't?
Well, you're not allowed to take vacations when you're.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Chairman, if I could, just 2 more quick notes, just to preface or to refer to the letter that we had sent March 11th. It states that in early 2023, the Alpena County Board of Commissioners had discussed on the possibility of expanding the Alpena County Road Commission from a 3-member board to a 5-member board. It was again discussed in 2024, and now for a third time, the issue is surfaced for discussion. So the time has come for the board to take this matter for a formal vote. So I think it's just basically to formalize it because it's discussed a lot, but the board hasn't actually gone through the process of holding the public hearing, gathering the information, and then doing a vote so that we can put it to bed.
So really, we're not gonna, I guess, lose anything by having a public hearing because we didn't make a decision. We're just putting it to a public hearing to get input from the community.
Correct.
Okay.
And then I did have, sorry, just two quick questions, additional questions. The current members, and they don't have to give an address, but can they at least give a location, township or city? Are they spread out across the county, or are they all located in the same township or in the city?
They're all basically in the northwest corner.
Northwest, okay. And then,
So all the northwest corner is getting all the services?
Yeah, there is a representation like a county board. That's not how it's laid out.
On our own, see if we get first service.
I joked, Gerald, that the whole reason I became a county commissioner is to get my road paved,
Oh,
right?
How'd that work?
All the way to my house.
Work okay?
No.
you have to
I
do
think
that?
Jerry's out there grading every now and then. Somebody's grading it because I just saw they dumped a pile. Was that you that dumped? No?
This was actually, it did go to a vote at the county board back in 2007. I believe this was. And they did hold the public hearings, the necessary public hearings and whatnot. So, I mean, it has been brought up, discussed and put to bed once before, all of it.
I think every 20 years is fair.
I just, so everybody has all the information.
Yeah, I appreciate
Well, we got 2 more years to go then.
it.
18, so.
Times changed quite a bit in 20 years.
Yeah. So I guess, again, what are your thoughts? How do we want to move forward? Do we want to do a public hearing? Do we not?
It probably wouldn't hurt. It's fair representation.
That's right. Probably not,
We already made that decision to have to.
based on, yeah, being approached, yeah.
So we don't have any discussion on that. So I guess you just move forward then, and get that set up for the,
July 8th.
well, not July.
I'm sorry, June 24th.
May 27th.
27th
Did any of the road commissioners want to speak as well?
and June
Yeah.
24th.
So Jesse made a good point. Did any of the road commissioners like to speak? I know we've heard from Brian. Gerald,
Not at this point.
Tom,
Jerry is.
Jerry?
have anything to say?
Yeah, well, actually, I see Jerry got up, so we'll let Jerry speak first and then we'll come over to you, Tom.
You guys are all set with me then.
Yes.
Well, I'm here to promote adding 2 members to the board. And I hope you see it and you'll see the need to add your support. Our 3-man board now has a budget of 9 to 10 million. Parks Commission has a 10-member board and has less than $1 million budget, with over half of that adjusted by grant money. That seems backwards, doesn't it? I get paid $30 for a parks meeting. I get around $750 for a road commission meeting. How did that get so far out of whack? So is this going to cost more? There's lots of money in the road commission budget for commissioners. It just needs to be split by 5 instead of 3. That is still ample pay. So why is so much authority given to 2 commissioners? That's a simple majority of the 3-man board to decide who drives on asphalt and who eats dust. And by the way, the people out on Beaver Lake Road that were here, they're still eating the dust. And what about the authority of our manager? I was just at a state road commission conference where both counties were represented. To my surprise, word of this change to a 5-member board has many 3-member board managers watching very close and have commented so. And here are some of the comments that I heard. A 5-member board would be much harder to control. Number 2, I have private conversations with my board members, which is legal, and enjoy the Opens Meeting Act, which prevents them from doing the same with each other. Can't talk to each other about issues at the road commission. Number 3, I don't want board members meeting on any project without calling a special meeting. 2 commissioners, the legal quorum, cannot meet to discuss road commission business outside of our meeting room. That's why today is actually a road commission meeting. Number 4, I meet with county commissioners to make sure they give me the board I want. I refuse to allow excavating contractors, construction company owners, or engineers on my board. Sounds to me like if I'm permitted to be on his board, I better remember who got me there. If managers have this much control over the board, that board should be dissolved because it has no useful purpose. All it does is provide a false impression that the manager is being held accountable. I would hope this commission would appoint qualified individuals with expertise in areas like engineering, surveying, contracting, business, road construction, equipment, and more. But I have observed that managers would rather have individuals with no expertise related to the road commission. So how are things going at the road commission? With the 4 years plus service, I can say I have yet to receive one positive comment. And some of the comments I'm going to tell you that are popular, some of you have made to me. Why are the truck plows plowing snow and there is no snow to plow? Next one, why can't I get the road to run in the ditch instead of on the road? Our crews does 11 miles of chip seal about every year. This is a major project for us to do. Alcona County this summer is going to do 70 miles. Alcona County last summer did twice the mileage Alpena County did every day. Iosco County is 3 times the mileage. Maybe this is why Alpena County has the lowest percentage of paved primary roads in the Lower Peninsula. Low productivity and loss of purpose has also led to employee morale decline. The road commission passed out jackets at our safety awards, and the guys were commenting that the logo would have to be removed before they could wear it. Other employees have told me that the conditions are so bad that they don't tell people where they work because they're embarrassed to be an employee there. I could go on, but I hope you heard enough. We need more expertise, more wisdom to get the most of our tax dollars. Give control to a board that is responsible to the public and no one else. So I request you add two more members. Thank you.
You have your speech prepared, Tom?
No. I'm gonna shoot from the hip.
Okay.
First of all, I don't agree with much that my fellow commissioner just told you folks. Because there is positive comments from the public all the time. As in the last ice storm. Thank you, county commissioners, for getting the roads opened up as fast as you did. I heard that from lots of people. And as far as Open Meetings Act, whether it's a 5-member board or a 3-member board, I don't think 2 commissioners should be talking outside of a public meeting. So that theory doesn't wash with me. If they want to discuss road commission business, they should be in a public meeting, period. As far as trying to get a better representation of the county geographically with road commissioners, well, there's 2 flaws to that. First, you don't know that you're going to get an applicant from a certain district of the county to get that representation. Second, the personnel committee is charged with appointing the very best candidate for that position on the road commission board, and not just because of where he lives
in this county. So that's just two flaws to that theory that you're gonna get better representation. My third point is, it's an old adage, but if it isn't broke, don't fix it. This road commission's been working fine since was incepted with a 3-member board. We don't need 5-member board to get the best for the roads in this county. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. So I'll blame Brenda on this one because she's part of personnel. But I think I know that in the most recent selections, the selections that we've had, I've worked with Tom and I've worked with Gerald. Granted, it was part of the parks. And I knew both of you, and I've never heard anything negative or bad about you. And probably, I think it was when we were selecting or trying to reappoint or find someone for that position, Tom. I think at the time I had a conversation with Dave, former commissioner, and said that, again, if I've not heard anything negative about you, you seem to be doing the job that we were appointed. And one of the things, and I think I probably even told you this in a conversation that we've had, it's going to be hard to start someone over again. And I think, again, I can talk to both Brenda and Bill that when you appoint somebody, and again, your appointment was for a 6-year term, with the commissioner, I literally had to run for commissioner. I just started trying to figure out things. 2 years of being elected, where I then had to potentially run against somebody to try to get my position back. Fortunately, nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to be a county commissioner. So I think I've only had that issue once when I was appointed, but I've never had to really run an election against somebody. So I guess where I'm going with this, my point is that I've known both of you, and if someone has a problem with me appointing Gerald or Tom, I guess I'm going to take the blame for that one. But because I've selected, I've known both of you, and I thought that you both made the most sense to me for those appointments. I was part of those interviews. And again, my thought was, and I probably have talked to Ryan a number of times as well, that it's hard to, and you both know this, and probably Jerry knows this as well, that you become a road commissioner. There's a lot of training. There's a lot of things that you learn. You may not be an expert in this one particular thing or know everything, but you become an expert with the years of doing what you do and know what you're doing. So I guess, again, unless someone tells me that I've made the wrong decision, I feel like I made the right decision by selecting the individuals that have been doing this. And had I been, nothing against Jerry, but had I been part of that committee, I probably would have appointed the person who was in that position before. And said, you're making a mistake by appointing this person or that person. So, so again, I'd stand by that. And if, depending on which direction we go, which happens in the future, at that point, we're not going to have individuals that are have been on the board prior. So we'd be looking for new individuals. So again, that's my thought and comment on that. And I don't know if anybody else has any other thoughts on that. Tom?
Let me just add, it takes a road commissioner at least one full term, at least 6 years, before he even has a good understanding of where the financing comes from and how policies are made. And to be an effective member of the road commission, you need one term just to learn to be an effective member. I'm in my 2nd term right now. In fact, I'm in my 9th year. And I really think I've got a good understanding of it. So appointing 2 new members, that's a 12-year learning curve for them to come up to speed. So just so you know that.
Yep. Well, and again, going back to myself, I've said from the very beginning that, being a county commissioner and running every 2 years does not make sense because you could have new commissioners. I think when we were appointed, we had 5 new commissioners that year.
We
And
did.
then one of them that was already a previous commissioner had passed away. So in a sense, we literally had 6 new, in our first year, we had 6 new
Yeah.
county commissioners, which is huge to, you know, the learning curve. And I've said this a number of times. I said, I'm just going to start figuring out what it is to be a county commissioner. And then someone could run, I don't know why anybody would want to do it. But somebody could run against me and then start that whole process over. So again, that's just my personal feeling. And again, however this pans out, we'll see. So,
Didn't we already vote to
Yeah.
move ahead? with the
We're already
process?
moving ahead with it,
Yeah,
so.
okay.
Yeah,
and again, this will have the public comment on those dates that Jesse indicated, and then the final decision will be July
July
8th.
8th.
So, okay. Any other comment on?
I
this?
do have a question. If the board decides to add 2 new members and you wanted to wait until December?
I think what it would be, and we could put that, because we've looked for people for all the different committees that we have. Usually we do that in November, and then interview in December.
Okay, so in December, if the board wants to have 2 new members, we would have to vote in 3 because the road
Yeah, so
commission,
you'd have you'd be.
2 new,
So probably, is it
and
your
one-
term then, Jerry?
It's 2.
No, but so again, we interview, if we were to interview, because
I'm on for another year.
it, oh yeah, that's right, that's right.
okay,
You're in midterm
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
Wait till 26,
oh, okay.
December of 26.
Oh,
Then you'd
So
have,
this year we'd add 2,
2.
and then next year Joey's
One
position would have
go
to,
up for 3.
yeah.
then I think, Jesse, you'd have to rotate that, so those 2 that weren't coming off at the same time.
Yeah,
You'd have to stagger, it, and one be a 5-year and one be a 6-year, whatever, however it worked.
That handbook said they have to be staggered.
Yeah, so you have to be staggered somehow.
Or we could put them on, they have to run for their seat, like we do, the 5 of them.
but, okay.
That is actually an option.
Yeah,
I just want to let you know.
Well, but.
yeah, it is an option.
So
I know
that could come out during the
Mhm.
public hearings, correct?
Yeah,
Any other comments?
So how's that held? That's right here and then the
Yeah.
public comes. Okay.
We'll leave that to you.
you can figure that out, Liz.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess with that, if there's no other questions, we can move on.
And you'll get back with the times on that so the public will know.
Yes, yep.
Okay.
So was there something, was there anything on the correspondence that you, because I know you,
Not correspondence.
Oh, you had
There was,
one more thing.
yeah, there was some old business technically. I just wanted clarification on it. We discussed it at a previous meeting. The Huron Engineering and Surveying study that I had discussed last time, for them to go out to the Long Lake property and do the wetland delineation, potential cost of breaking down the parcels, et cetera. And that was a total of 14,800. I think we got sidetracked on that discussion though, and it ended up being that we discussed the timber sales or proceeds off of that property, which we can do. Commissioner Peterson, I did reach out to the gentleman that you asked me to. He's been helpful, but he can't actually come for another about 2 or 3 weeks before he can start the work. So the timber probably wouldn't be harvested until, guessing sometime in June, if we can find a timber company willing to come in, in that month. I guess my question is, because we would still have to do this work, regardless of the timber sales, would the board want me to move forward with this? And then just any profit or revenue we make off those timber sales would go back in the line item that we're paying for this out of? Or did you want to wait? I guess I was just looking for clarification on that, because the 2 are kind of separated.
I hate to wait.
Well, the work would have to be done.
Seems like when you
regardless.
wait, it goes on the wayside and then you forget about it.
So I guess I was just looking for
so
clarification.
yes, then you'd look for a motion to make sure we're,
I'll agree. So I'm gonna make that motion
Yeah.
that we don't wait.
Can I I'll clarify the motion just so it covers everything I need in order to.
Oh,
go
okay.
forward.
Sorry.
So the motion would be good to begin the study and report work by Huron Engineering for the Long Lake properties with adjustments to the proposal as needed and not to exceed $14,800 from line item 101-200-801.000 with any revenue from timber sales on that property in the future to be put back into that same line item.
That's pretty much what you were gonna say, wasn't it?
That's, I'll make that motion.
I'll support. Okay, so we have a motion, support. Any other comments, discussion? Okay,
Roll call vote.
yep.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Konachevsky,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes,
Motion carried.
okay. No new business, and then I think we're at public comment again. But, oh. Okay, go ahead. Barb.
Well, you didn't ask about the parks, and I'd just like to say because
We don't want to.
of because of the ice storm, two parks did fairly well, good. But the third park, which is Sunken Lake, it took the most hit, bad. So they're trying to get the park open, but it may not get opened on time on the 15th of next month. But we're hoping a lot of damage was done to Sunken Lake. The other two parks will open on time, sure.
You good?
I'm good.
Okay. Any other comments? So we're gonna move on to final public comment. Anybody?
There's a
Sure.
My name is Rob Pellerito. I'm District Director for State Senator Michelle Hoyinga. Just wanted to make everybody aware, the senator will be in district, in Alpena on a Friday for office hours at the Big Boy from 3 to 4 p.m. Everybody's welcome. Love to see you there.
So I will say, and again, I appreciate you reaching out to me. I reached out to Michelle. I don't want to be negative to other elected officials, but one in particular totally blew me off, which I did not appreciate. But like I said, I do appreciate you and Michelle. Michelle came over here and I got to talk with her, but I just, again, relay that I appreciate both you and her at least taking the time. Again, the one individual that I texted could have just said, okay, thanks for the update, but I got nothing. And so I did not appreciate that. And not that again, it didn't take much for you to reply. I know you called me, but I was in the middle of something. I did get your text or whatever. Was it a text or was it?
I think I left you a email.
Okay. But I think, I don't know, did I respond to you? Hopefully I.
No,
But I did respond to Michelle.
right, and I got with the administrator as well,
Okay. But again, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming over here. Unfortunately, I won't be here Friday. If I was, I definitely would meet with her. Because every time she comes and I have an opportunity, I do like to meet with her. So, thank you.
But please share it with all your constituents. We'd love to see anybody there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
What was that date?
You got your time. You
What's
didn't
that?
get your-
Am I allowed?
Oh, yeah, you.
Okay. At the Big Boy.
Gary Gorin again from 109 Glenridge. I just want to clarify my position in regards to the road commission. I'm not here to talk about anything that they have done wrong. I like the work Brian has done and I like I'm not here to pound the road commission. What I'm here about is the structure itself. It kind of made me mad when Tom said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, it is broke. It's broke because the structure is wrong. They made it in 1894. Half of the counties in the state now are starting to change from a 3 to a 5-member board because that's the way it should be. When Brenda said it's not fair to have only 3 members on the board, you need to have at least 5, she's absolutely correct. And you're absolutely correct when you start talking about you have if there is somebody who has to recuse themselves from voting, it needs to be 5 is a much better number. And I don't want to hear about the budget for the extra 2 members being a factor in this discussion. That should not be an issue. So I'll have more to say at the public comment, but for now, I just want to be clear. It's the structure that I'm focusing on, not necessarily the work the Board Commission is doing.
Okay, thank you. So you got your 2 dates, May 27th and July 20 or June 24th, correct?
And what time are those meetings?
So it's,
We'll post those publicly, yeah.
it'll be probably right before the full board.
Yeah, I think the first one is noon to 1 and the second one was 4:30 to 5:30.
Yeah, so they're right prior to our full board meeting.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Any other public comment? Anyone online? Okay, we'll close public comment, and we'll look for a motion to adjourn.
And I'll make the motion.
So we have a motion by Commissioner LaHaye.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Bray. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned.